Buenos dias, bonjour, o genki desu ka? Ni hao ma? Guten Tag, Gott morgen, dobre oro. Good morning. This episode of the Umbanda New Earth Ashram for Compassion and Strength Information Dissemination broadcast is brought to you by Folgers Coffee, instant and adequately heated. So today is the go live day for my third book in the New Earth Golden Age Timeline trilogy. This book is entitled Academy of the Ascendants, and it's available on Amazon. It went live today, and I was just going to kind of share a little bit of that. This is, if you go to Amazon, go to the link. This is, you can read a sample, and this is what's available. And it looks like it lets you not see all the book as a sample, but you can look at the forward, the introduction, and then interestingly enough, it makes available. Let's see. But that's all the contents of this book. Having taken as a bow the great weapon of the secret teaching, one should fix in it the arrow sharpened by constant meditation, drawing it with a mind filled with that, Brahman. And Brahman is a Hindu word. It is roughly conterminous with source, spiritual, but has connotations of spirituality, but spirit, source, God, if you will. Drawing it with a mind filled with that, Brahman, which interestingly is where Abraham in the Bible comes from. All this is connected, all this knowledge is connected, but so penetrate, O good-looking youth, the imperishable as the mark. And then it says, the pranara, or Om, is the bow. This is energy, life force. Om, sound, words. Words are symbols. Words are a impotent surrogate for the sounds that they represent. The true secret of all of this is you using your vocals, with your intent, but uttering sound. That is how creation came about. It's how your creations come about. Om is the bow. The arrow is the self. That is you, me. It is our ego. Brahman is said to be the mark. With heedfulness is it to be penetrated. One should become one with it as the arrow in the mark. That's from the Mandaka Upanishad. And then we have the book dedication. Just sharing a little show and tell, anybody's interested. It's what I do with my time these days. Dedication to the light of knowledge. And from the disclaimer, you can tell a lot about an author depending on how their disclaimer is presented. Here's my disclaimer. I make no claim for either the infallibility or the originality of any statement herein contained. I have studied the fragmentary writings of the ancients sufficiently to realize that dogmatic utterances concerning their tenets and proclamations of the Ancient of Days are worse than foolhardy. Traditionalism is the curse of modern philosophy, particularly that of the esoteric schools. While many of the statements contained in this wisdom offering in written word format may appear at first wildly fantastic, I have sincerely endeavored to refrain from careless and non-methodical metaphysical speculation, presenting the material as far as possible in the spirit rather than the letter of the mystery schools of the ancients. By assuming responsibility only for the mistakes which may appear herein, I hope to escape the accusation of plagiarism which has been directed against nearly every writer on the subject of mystical philosophy and spiritual technologies of the grand cosmos. Arising from the divine law of one and the universal law of unity Christ consciousness, I adhere to the tenet. Any truth that becomes in us a source of truth is ours. It belongs to all of us equally. That was Thales of Argos. Thank you, Thales. Thusly, I shall endeavor to make known when I am beholden to a particular source for a specific narrative I am presenting. For example, I will identify that source with the intent to adhere to and be in alignment with the integrity of intellectual property observances. Unless otherwise indicated, all the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents in this book are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. As with all information conduits, practice discernment and filter all data through your own personal source-connected truth matrix. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events and existing information narratives are purely coincidental. The information presented is the author's opinion and does not constitute any health or medical advice. The content of this book is for informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition or disease, and is intended to remedy the solely human, the Terran condition, and thus elevate the reader to the status of a self-empowered, source-connected metahuman, an ascendant. Lastly, this entire compendium of manuscripts is a quantum statement of manifestation, and you, the reader of these manuscripts, agree to the co-creation of the intent put forth in these words, chiefly the realization and creation of a new epoch of heaven upon earth, and the manifestation of fifth dimensional focused living for all ascendants upon the golden age timeline of the new earth. And then we have a note from the author. Indicates a unique term, this asterisk here, as it applies to the intent of this work, defined in the provided glossary as an appendix to this book. A quick note on timelines, defined more in depth in the glossary section. At the time of publication of this written word offering, timelines are collapsing and shifting so rapidly as the solar activity continues to destabilize the old dimensional bandwidths. As the coronal mass ejections and KP levels is a term that's defined in the glossary, continue to increase and blast through our magnetosphere as we connect to and download from the wider universal frequencies. The physical genetic vehicle is upgrading and recalibrating at an astounding and exponential rate as we anchor in the optimal golden age timeline upon the path to the new earth. And then I have a little subsection, just kind of building up the anticipation before you would get into the book proper. But here is the heart of my healing. Child of the light that has grown among men, choose thou thy work, for all should must labor. Never be free from the pathway of light. Wisdom is power, and power is wisdom, one with each other, perfecting the whole. Be thou not proud, O man, in thy wisdom. Discourse with the ignorant as well as the wise. If one comes to thee full of knowledge, listen and heed, for wisdom is all. Keep thou not silent when evil is spoken, for truth like the sunlight shines above all. He who oversteppeth the law shall be punished, for only through law comes the freedom of men. Cause thou not fear, for fear is a bondage, a fetter that binds the darkness to men. Follow thou thine heart during thy lifetime. Do thou more than is commanded of thee. When thou hast gained riches, follow thou thine heart, for all these are of no avail if thine heart be weary. Diminish thou not the time of following thine heart. It is abhorred of the soul. They that are guided go not astray, but they that are lost cannot find a straight path. If thou go among men, make for thyself love, the beginning and end of the heart. If one cometh unto thee for counsel, let him speak freely, that the thing for which he hath come to thee may be done. If he hesitates to open his heart to thee, it is because thou, the judge, doeth the wrong. Repeat thou not extravagant speech, neither listen to it, neither listen thou to it, for it is the utterance of one not in equilibrium. Speak thou not of it, so that he before thee may know wisdom. Silence is of great profit, and abundance of speech profiteth nothing. Exalt not thine heart above the children of men, lest it be brought lower than the dust. If thou be great among men, be honored for knowledge and gentleness. If thou seekest to know the nature of a friend, ask not his companion, but pass a time alone with him, debate with him, testing his heart by his words and his bearing. That which goeth into the storehouse must come forth, and the things that are profitable are to him hurtful. He liveth in death, it is therefore his food. The wise man lets his heart overflow, but keeps silent his mouth. O man, listen to the voice of wisdom, listen to the voice of the light. Mysteries there are in the cosmos that unveiled fill the world with their light. Let he who would be free from the bonds of darkness first divine the material from the immaterial, the fire from the earth. For know ye that as earth descends to earth, so also fire ascends unto fire, and becomes one with fire. He who knows the fire that is within himself shall ascend unto the eternal fire and dwell in it eternally. And that was from Thoth Jehuti, the greatest king of Atlantis, 30,000 years ago, author of the Emerald Tablets. So, and then we're getting to the foreword, and this is from the book Academy of the Ascendants. That's a quite lengthy foreword. Again, you can go on Amazon, and if you're interested, you can look at. This is all made available. I think the foreword is. It's in essence, it's the same foreword for each of the three books, but I added to the foreword as each book developed, and that foreword is unique to the particular book, but it does have as a sort of basis the original. It does morph though as a butterfly will from caterpillar. And then we have a little part here. I'll slow down here because I like this information. It says, back up here. Truth can only exist for the individual according to his ironically subjective perception. The metahuman ontology espouses neither a particular path. Your particular path of ascension is as unique as your individuality or specific body of teachings. Rather, it is simply a way of existing based upon spiritual equality. And in this way of existing, it proposes not to judge, but rather to discern carefully between the lower frequencies of separation and the higher frequencies of unity, the law of one and the unity of the all that is. That being stated, however, there are two divine cosmic laws with a third that will be revealed, that must be assimilated within the conscious awareness of the mind-body complex of the individual upon the path of the New Earth Golden Age timeline. First law, love and respect the unit of divine fire within your heart complex. Know you are the creator having a human experience. Second law, love and respect the creator in nature, the same way you love the creator within yourself. This is your metahuman journey in consciousness. This is your life. The old ways, the old days are over. Humanity is crossing a threshold and emerging into the light of harmonic universe number 2. So on and so forth. And that part is kind of carried forth from the second book, Build It and They Will Come, and then we're kind of getting more into what the third book is about from the forward. Here we go. This third volume, Academy of the Ascendants, and the Wisdom Offerings in written word format, designated as the New Earth Golden Age Timeline Trilogy, are quite emphatic in the tenets that, regardless of the culture, customs, ethnicity, or nation state of origins of any given Terran, ye are all children of light of the Great Awakening. All systems reduced down into three requirements for the ascendant upon the path of the Golden Age timeline to the New Earth: control of the body, genetic vehicle; control of the mind, which is conterminous with your soul; control of the emotions, your spirit. You're all children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. This is a book of knowledge and subsequently a book of power. Knowledge of the self, as in the sense of your awareness of being, as a fractal of source-connected awareness, equates to a self-empowering existence on your terms, on your own terms, and complete command of your destiny as an ascendant upon the Golden Age timeline of the New Earth epoch. Man, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Continues on, the human instrument and the Terran human of harmonic universe number one modality of existence is the reason why heaven can never occur upon earth. As long as we are trapped within the digital matrix, the AI hive mind amplified lower animal nature of hapless consumerism versus co-creator metahuman status as a Terran in a solely fallen human modality, we are limited by our fragmented consciousness. We seek pleasure and base survival, never rising above the lower animal level of selfishness to an elevated perspective that embraces a path that synthesizes and ultimately unites the actual with the ideal. That in and of itself, that little tiny snippet of thought that embraces a path that synthesizes and ultimately unites the actual with the ideal. That is the hardest part, dear esteemed viewer. Do you walk your talk? Are you in alignment? Is every aspect of you in alignment with your truth matrix? Because ascension really equates to initiation, and initiation really equates to integration. That is what enlightenment is an integration of all of your aspects. There are many elements, energies that are vested in keeping you fragmented. They feed off your fragmentation. They thrive off your fragmentation. So this book and these books are about bringing you into alignment as an ascendant metahuman. So this is still the forward, and then a little quote from Wes Penray here, because it's vastly important and ultimately critical that all of us on this path of ascension make use of the right hemisphere of our brain physiology. As Wes Penray states in his newly released book, The Orion Book, when we have done our research, we go into action. That doesn't always mean physical action, but rather spiritual action. The right brain has been severely suppressed in all of us for ages because those in control of this world don't like philosophers and they dislike critical thinkers. It all makes them lose control over humankind. Most of the world population uses very little of their right brain, which we might as well coin the philosophical brain. That's where creation takes place. It is the feminine aspect of us, and it needs to be vastly developed in both men and women to break free from this matrix. So, and he goes on, that is where the real awakening happens, although the brain is just a physical vehicle and a control board for the mind. Literally, creative thoughts tend to ignite the neurons in the right philosophical hemisphere of the brain. But this right here needs to be vastly developed in both men and women to break free. That is the true sort of division of the sexes. What's between your legs ultimately really doesn't matter. I mean, I know there's a whole issue with perpetuating these genetic vehicles and the good old-fashioned way of doing it and consciousness and all that stuff. But until people get beyond the superficial, like, I mean, you had Bruce Jenner that had a sex change operation, and now he's supposed to be a whole new person, and everybody's all in an uproar and about what all that means. But see, here's the thing: did Bruce Jenner go through an inner transformation? Is his left and right brain, did it become one mind? Did it become united? Is his right God brain now in synthesis with because you can have very brainy left brain females and vice versa, and typically that is what everybody is these days. They're very left brain, ego oriented, and this right brain has been atrophied, your God brain. So anyway, that's just a little kind of commentary on that, all that stuff. I don't pay attention to, because all that stuff's designed to divide and conquer. Um, we must unite. We must unite and ascend. And then so I have a little example of the glossary in the back. I define these terms. An original ascendant is an original term I designated referring to a human who has completed the ascension process and resides within harmonic universe number two. Original term Terran is what I call people that just like to bicker, and they're very persnickety, and they're vested in the old paradigm. They want to can argue things from the ego. That's fine. I tolerate that stuff because at some point, you know, the person will start catching on. Like I said, I don't believe in a God or I mean, the dichotomy between evil and all that stuff. It's if you tend to look at this as energy and polarities, get your ego out of the way and get out of the people in your environment. You see them as energies, and you have a more objective means to negotiate these energies that come into your life, and you can act in a more productive manner. Because literally, if you try to battle ego to ego and at that energy level at those lower frequencies, you're perpetuating that. So it is up to each one of us to, as we ascend, to bring those gifts of heaven to earth and begin to share them with our fellows. Uh, and so hopefully that resonates with somebody out there. But here's from the introduction, and that was just the forward. And yeah, it's kind of a long book. But anyway, who's in my temple? All the doors do open themselves, all the way lights do light themselves. Darkness like a bird flies away, oh, flies away. From a poem that was, but this was ultimately, I got it from Paramahansa Yogananda, who I consider, uh, I was exposed to his teachings while I was in college. And yeah. So Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings have been with me from the early on. And in fact, I gave a copy of his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, to the the main guy from this death metal band called Morbid Angel, Trey Azikto. Should have seen the look on this guy's face when I gave him a book copy of this book by Paramahansa Yogananda. So anyway, and this is from the introduction, just sharing a little bit here. This picture was painted by Miss Mira Guerkin. This picture here we're looking at. And of Bellevue, Washington. The inspiration for this painting is the following imagery taken from the Mundaka Upanishad, and that was the very first image that we looked at was with bow and arrow was from the Mundaka Upanishad, one of the main scriptures related to Advaita Vedanta type of self-inquiry. Through this beautiful analogy, the Upanishad tries to explain how the Jivatman, the apparent self of the Terran, enamored with the 3D world of the five physical senses. See, here's the Terran eating they're just kind of taking, and then a supreme Atman is above, the ascendant metahuman is above. Notice the sun disk behind his head. This is the same sort of symbolism you see with the Christ and all the Western saints. They always had that sun disk behind them. So anyway, enamored with the 3D world of the five physical senses, becomes one with the Paramatman, Para-Atman. So you can see how these words, para like parapsychology, para above, Atman is the above man, the overman. Or Germans say Übermensch. So Jivatman is Untermenschen, the low animal man, and Param Atman is Übermenschen, the ascendant metahuman. But yeah, Hindu, these languages, Indo-European languages, and it unites us all, but it's a fascinating subject. So anyway, so that painting, and this is the introduction to this book, third book, and that's what it's all about essentially. Is these are methods to begin to break free from the harmonic universe number one and ascend to harmonic universe number two. So and this goes on to explain, the introduction explains the painting about and the correlation between the lower Terran and the ascendant metahuman. So, and then I have a little, while the Academy of the Ascendants is not a brick and mortar entity that exists currently within the 3D Earth of Harmonic Universe number one, it does exist within Harmonic Universe number two in the form of astral and etheric constructions built from parables, allegories, and a firm foundation of spiritual technologies based upon a wealth of teachings and learnings from this eternal cosmos of the creator of all that is. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. These oft quoted words of Jesus are central to his message, to his disciples, and to the world. When questioned by the Pharisees as to where this kingdom might be found or when it would manifest on earth, Jesus replies, "Behold, the kingdom of God is within you." So anyway, that's I'm not going to keep this video is probably long as hell, but I don't think it goes on too long. Or anyway, it's just a sample. So sample. But yeah, so that's this book here on Amazon, and yeah, I think we covered all that stuff. So, but it, essentially, this is all about ascension is the reunification of all of the aspects of self through all of the dimensions and through all space and time of a fragmented Terran. So for a Terran in a state of ascension or initiation, and this is a journey too. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. I see the message that people put forth on YouTube that, that the aliens are going to come and snatch everybody up and you're going to be in the fifth dimension and all that. And all right, but it's a little bit more personal than that. And it behooves you to turn within and unless they're landing right in your backyard, don't pay attention to it so much. Pay attention to your meditational practices, because it would not matter if they had a genetic vehicle in the third dimension or not. It would only matter that all of their aspects be in harmony, in communication, and united with both the ascendant metahuman aspect and connected to source intelligent infinity. At that point, there is no barrier between the dimensions. Third dimension, fourth dimension, six are between time and space, and everything that Terrans would call miraculous is possible, as they are now existing as a fully realized and integrated new Earth ascendant with all the attendant powers of the realized metahuman. And then so here's this sort of the chapter thematic content arranged in chapter 4 minute. Chapter the first, the gate of the ancients, Vidan, piercing of chakras, opening the gate. Chapter the second, the web of sound. Chapter the third, temple of photon. Chapter the fourth, disciples of the 36th chamber. Chapter the fifth, the valley of shadow. Chapter the sixth, cosmic sea of quantum infinity. Chapter the seventh, the all that is, return to source. So, but it's it's my effort, my offering to kind of make a little bit of sense to this process and these opportunities that we have right now. The energies are supporting us. The kingdoms of heaven. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but this is the time. This is what we're here for right now. It's not being distracted by what's going on in the physical world, which is by design. These are all tests. This is time, initiations, ascension, and make the best use of your time. Endeavor to become self-empowered and never lose hope. There's a lesson in everything. Control your energies and hit that subscribe button, and it will be all good. Namaste. Namaskaram.